I've been toying with this for a while, whether I should or should not share this information with you, because this is actually one of the services I do as part of my business, and that's demolding and recovering 8mm and digital tapes. But I thought, what the hell, I might actually make more from showing you guys how to do it yourself, so let's check it out. Here I have a moldy tape which is snapped, and what needs to be done on a moldy tape is we have to demold the tape before we can transfer it over. So to do that, I'm going to open the cassette. We'll take a look at the tape and see how it's broken. What happens with mold when mold gets on 8mm and DV tape, because the tape is so thin, it tears the tape. On VHS or other formats of tape that get mold on them, it doesn't tend to break the tape, and just running the tape through a machine will tend to clear the mold. But this is what happens when you get a moldy tape. You can see the mold here on the top edge of the tape. You can see it right here on the reel. See, there's the mold. And what happens when a tape gets moldy is you get a tear that tears through the tape, but it usually starts at the top and works its way down to the bottom. You'll get a tear like this, a long tear. The other side over here on the supply side, where the mold is basically gluing the tape together, we can peel off the tape. We have to lift the tape up here and get the tape off the reel. Now what will happen is, as the tape unwinds, as soon as it gets to mold again, where there's more mold, it will stick and tear the tape again. The way to get the mold off the tape is you kind of stretch the tape, cause the tape to rotate on the spool so that it'll break the bond, and you just do it by giving the tape a pull like that. And that will usually break the bond between the layers of tape. Now what I need to do now is I need to splice the tape, and then I'm going to need to wind it from one spool to the other. This is the tedious, time-consuming part. So let me just splice this tape together first, and then we'll start to reel the tape from one side to the other. And in the process of doing that, it will remove the mold from the tape. And now basically what I do is I'm just going to spool the tape from one reel to another, and I just use a bit from like a cordless screwdriver bit, a regular standard screwdriver bit. It fits perfectly into the base of the take-up hub, or the tape hub. And now I'm just going to spool the tape from one spool to the other. So I put it onto just a piece of paper just because the reels will spin a little easier here. But the idea is I don't want any tension on it whatsoever. And if that tape starts to stick at all coming off the reel on the left, I'll have to stop and stretch it a little more, just to break any more bond, because it still will tear very, very easily. So this is a time-consuming process. You don't want to rush this. Kind of spin it off the supply side, see if any sticks. This is going to take a while. Like, it normally takes about an hour or so to do this, to wind it from one spool to the other. But it's got to be done, otherwise get some more that might stick here. So we're going to give it a bit of a pull again. And then it'll unspool freely, as you see, and then I can spool it back up. That's the whole name of the game, is to get it to unspool freely and then wind it back up. It's time consuming. And then when we get back to another section that's sticking again, we have to do the same. We'll give it a bit of a pull, not allow it to turn, just a little even tension on here. This will unbind the mold. Keep in mind that there are places that are charging people upwards of $400 to do this. And that's why I'm showing you guys this. I do this as part of my business, and normally I wouldn't give away my secrets. But when I hear people that say that they were charged $400 US to basically do what I'm doing here, and of course these places will say we've got fancy equipment to do it. Bull crap. They're doing it exactly the same way. They're just spooling it from one to the other. And that's the process until the tape is completely wound from one spool to the other, and then we can rewind it back. And then the tape will go into a machine to be transferred. Now, some people might come up with little contraptions and machines and stuff to wind it. I prefer to do it by hand. That way I can control and I can see if there's any sticking. So what I'll do is I usually stick it on a piece of paper like this. That way I can unspool a bunch of tape and then spool it up onto the take-up spool. And just keep it rolling like this. When the reels are sitting upside down on a piece of paper, there's no binding. And I put it on a piece of paper, obviously, to keep it relatively clean. You can do it on a wood table as well, but when I'm doing this in the shop, it's generally not that clean in here, right? There's a lot of dust and dirt, so just put it on a piece of paper, keep the tape itself clean. And if you're careful, you can do it without damaging the tape any further. The key to this is, as you're unspooling it, if it sticks, then you've got to stretch the tape again to break the bond of the mold that's bonding between the layers of tape. Once you get it sufficiently stretched, it will have broken the bond on all the layers of tape, so it should spool through relatively easy. Once I'm done, I'll put the cassette back into the shell, and then I will rewind it back to the beginning and then put it on the playback machine and play the tape back and digitize it at the same time. And if you have 2 bits, you can unspool it even quicker. And then I get to the end of the tape. I can now load the tape back into the cassette. I will load it onto an old camera, or in this case I'm going to load it onto an old playback machine, and rewind the tape, and then it'll be ready to transfer. But this tape is now demolded, and it will play no problem. Put the tape back together, put the screws back in, and this tape will be ready to transfer to digital once I rewind it. That's how you demold a tape without any special equipment. It just takes patience. And okay, now that the tape has been spooled back into the cassette, let's drag up the little 8mm player, rewind the tape, and see if we've got anything on it. So as soon as the tape rewinds, we'll check it out and make sure it plays. So here I am trying to recover this tape, and I find that not only was the tape full of mold, but their camera was out of alignment when the recording was made. So we're going to have to tweak a playback deck in order to try to recover this video so that I can transfer it to digital. For that, I'm going to use the EVC3. As you can see, the picture looks like crap, so we're going to tweak the guides. I'm just going to eyeball this. So to do this, I'm just going to adjust the tape guides using my small screwdriver and see if I can get the tape to play better. And as I do this, I'm just looking at it on the monitor. There we go. There. I think I got it looking pretty good now. So now I can go ahead and transfer this tape. I use this machine. This is my sacrificial machine. I use this machine for when an alignment is out on a regular 8mm tape. And I'll use my EVS 7000 if it's a high 8 tape. They're just a lot easier, having easy access to the tape guides to tweak these ones, as opposed to, say, using a camcorder. I could do it with a camcorder too. It's just got to take the whole camera apart to get at it. So having a deck like this, which I can just pop the top off, easy to access the entrance and exit guide, and I just use a small little point, I think it's a 0.9mm little jeweler screwdriver. It fits the slot on the guide here and turns it very easy. So that's it. Now I can recover this tape, and I've already taken the mold off of it. Now I can recover the video contents and digitize it for the client. So hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks for watching.